Friends, I hope you are well and keeping safe. I recently finished reading a book called Thunderstruck, written by Eric Larson. Eric Larson writes about historical nonfiction. In this book, he has two stories going in tandem. One is about communication using electromagnetic waves, and the second story is about a murder mystery. And this book is about both the stories going in tandem and they come together toward the end in the most unexpected way. Well, in this video, I'm not going to focus on the murder mystery part as much as I want to focus on Marconi. More so, I wanted to focus on not the invention per se, but everything that went behind it. The lessons I've learned as I read the book, and I hope you'll enjoy listening to the same as you go through the video. June 4th, 1894 was a date to reckon, for this is a date when Oliver Lodge, one of the renowned physicists of his time, was going to demonstrate in front of a packed audience in London that how electromagnetic waves can transfer between two devices which are not connected. So he went ahead with the experimentation. He had a transmitter which sends a spark and a receiver which is a tube filled with metal which was not connected to anything, any electrical circuit, and it started to glow. The audience was awestruck. The history was written. Oliver Lodge, however, had the first mover advantage, yet he did not encash on it because he did not believe in the idea. He has written in paper and publicly claimed as well that electromagnetic waves cannot travel for more than a few feet. Right around the same time, a 20-year-old Guglielmo Marconi in Italy was having different ideas altogether. Mind you, he was not a physicist, neither a scientist, nor a mathematician, nor an electrician. He just had a desire and interest in science. So while reading a magazine on electromagnetic waves, an idea came to his mind that maybe what the scientists are saying are wrong. Maybe if I can tweak the devices, I can make the signal travel to a longer distance. So with the help of his mother and taking a room in his ancestral property, he started experimenting around 1894. Over a year, he started doing different trials and error. Again, as I said, he didn't have any set agenda. He was just tweaking the antenna, the transmitter and receiver and trying to see how it will work. He achieved some success. He was able to send signal to about 60 feet when the antenna was 3 feet tall. And he realized that if you make the antenna 6 feet tall, the signal is going to 300 feet. So he had a notion that if we make the antenna taller, he should be able to send signal to longer distance. But now is the time he has to take this experiment from his home to the world. And at that point in time, going to London was the best thing to do. So Marconi, with a business mind, he along with his mother goes to London to see if he can get some help in getting his idea out in the public. While all of this is happening, I want to highlight that there are two thoughts which was dearly into Marconi's mind. Number one, he knew that he was not a scientist and he had just read a magazine and experimented. And he was certain that there are other people in the world who are doing similar kind of experimentation and they will overcome him if he doesn't do it on time. So time was essence to him. Second, he also had a thought that as soon as this idea will be out, even if people are not doing, when they see him doing it, since the entire scientist community are more knowledgeable, they may overtake him. So what he has to do, he has to first find a sponsor to make sure he is well backed up. And second, he had to file a patent so that he has a right over the technology. So he kept the entire receiver, the entire technology very safeguarded next to him. As luck would have it, when he comes to London, he had a friend who knew the chief electrician in the post office. Those days, post office kind of had a monopoly in terms of communication. I'm talking about the UK post office, was one of the powerful unit you can think about. So through his friend, he demonstrated that to the general electrician, and he loved the idea. They became good friends, and under him, he could find the money and everything that he needs to experiment. And he could experiment to see things going to further distance. He could stretch up long antennas, and he was able to send signal to longer distance to different islands which are separated about 100 miles away. Time has come that he has now to encash it because all of those was ideas and patent filing is important. What he realized at that point in time, and look at the business acumen of Marconi, that if he goes to a post office, he'll not be paid well. So what he did was he opened a private company, in a way betraying the chief electrician without letting him know. But all story done, he actually opened a company. Look at his business entrepreneurship. he was unlike any other scientist. He was trying to take an idea out there and make money out of it. And he, in turn, when he opened the company, got great amount of cash, and he also get a lot of funding to do his experimentation at a wider scale, larger scale. His first target was to see that if he can make communication between ships and some substation that you can create around the shore. Mind it, he was able to do it for hundreds of kilometers now. He was, I think, about 130 miles, I'm sorry, he was able to communicate. So he was successful in getting his transmitters and receivers installed in his different ships who can communicate back as they're coming on port and coming to dock and provide different kind of communication. While this was all happening, the company was not making money, and he knew that to make money, he has to think big and he has to do big things. And one of the biggest things that you can think of is the trade channel. At that point in time, US and UK was the biggest trade channel you can imagine of. And those days, the communication was all undersea. There was undersea cables, which used to take communication from one location to another. And he was trying to prove a point that he can use electromagnetic waves to send signals over the air. So in a very secret way, by taking his board approval, he goes to US first, tries to set up a long antenna and a substation there, and he started experimenting for years without much success. And then the US telegraph, who are having the control of the undersea cable, they came after him, and then he has to go to Canada, for instance, to rebuild the whole thing. He faced many different difficulties, including weather challenges and otherwise, to see things. Again, I want to remind you, he was not a scientist, so there are certain things he was not able to figure out. For example, how tall the antenna should be, because we're getting intermittent results. Also, he could see that signals in daytime were not going, but nighttime sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't. Through different trials and errors, again, he found out that it is not how tall a tower you make vertically, but horizontally that will make a difference. And rest is history. His company is a history, and how you make communication widely popular is a history as well. And the story I told you, murder mystery, has an angle to his communication as well, which I'm sure you'll learn when you read the book. So what are the lessons I have learned? The first thing is that we all believe in oracle science and all of the literature that has been written, and we are kind of geared towards understanding that those are the limitations we create by saying that if certain people have said certain thing, those are the limitations, you have to work under it. Marconi defied all those, and he went beyond that. So the first lessons learned is that when you strongly believe in an idea, and if you put your heart and soul to it, you can see results beyond what others are thinking. Again, I'm reminding you, Oliver Lodge and many other physicists have claimed that electromagnetic waves cannot travel for more than a few feet. By the way, Oliver Lodge came after him, and some of the other scientists came after him, ridiculing him that he is not a scientist, he's not a physicist, and he's trying to steal and things of those nature. But that doesn't matter. His idea worked. What is the second lesson I've learned? The second lesson I've learned is that how do you make an idea to a reality? Now, a lot of people have ideas, but how do you take the idea from a lab to a real life scenario? It's an amazing journey that Marconi did in a lot of situation where it was against him. He was Italian coming to UK, a foreigner coming to UK, trying to file a patent, which he did, by the way, trying to get his ground, trying to form a company, trying to list his company, trying to do Atlantic, cross-Atlantic communication. All of those he could do because he has a strong belief in the system, and then he can taking the idea to the next level. I hope you loved what you heard. Before I end, I just want to also let you know that for all his effort, he got Nobel Prize. He was awarded with that, and it was a right recognition he got towards the end of the entire communication channel that he's established. Thank you again for listening. If you loved what you heard, please give a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel and can pass on the message. Take care now. Bye for now.